Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fellas YouTube channel. My name is Tyler Plath, and today we are discussing 5 late round gems that you need to draft in fantasy football this year. Drafting well in the later rounds of your fantasy drafts is what separates your team from everyone else. Guys like Geno Smith, Jamal Williams, Christian Watson, and Evan Ingram is what set your team apart from the rest of your league. So let's talk about those hidden gems for this year. Before I begin, if you're not subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's a great way to show your support for our channel and all the content that we are creating over here to help you not only get better in fantasy football, but give yourself a chance at winning your leagues this year. And with that, the first player we will discuss is Nico Collins, who currently goes as the wide receiver 63 in the 12th round on Sleeper ADP. And just so we're clear, the players that I'm talking about are all currently going in the 12th round or later over on Sleeper PPR format. But again, the wide receiver 63 in the 12th round for Nico Collins. And it's a new day in Houston. CJ Stroud is your new quarterback. DeMeco Ryans is your new head coach, and he's bringing a bunch of San Francisco coaches and all of those systems over with him as well. And the reports this offseason make it sound like Nico Collins is the number one option for CJ Stroud, which that can be taken many ways, because it could mean the preferred wide receiver or legitimately the number one option in the offense. But if it's not the number one option, then it opens the door for Dalton Schultz to be the number one option or to be his favorite target. The only thing of significance that we can really draw from the last couple of years with Nico Collins and all the previous regimes is that Nico Collins last year was second in contested catch percentage, which is huge for a rookie quarterback because you can just throw it up and you've got a guy that can go up and get it. So Nico Collins right now, again, in the 12th round is a perfect bench stash, because if he does emerge as the number one option in this offense, you've got a piece that makes your team that much better compared to everyone else, because everyone else is going to be looking for that, but there's only one piece that can actually make a difference, and Nico Collins could very well be that piece. Next is Parris Campbell, one of the newest weapons on the New York Giants, who goes off the board currently at the wide receiver 77 in the 15th round. So this is one of those flyers that you are taking at the end of your drafts. And last year, Campbell played a full season, which is a first in his career, and he saw 91 targets, which, hey, someone going in the 15th round this year who saw 91 targets last year, that's pretty good value in itself. But let's dig a little deeper. Campbell was first of all wide receivers in slot snaps. He ran the 8th most routes and was 13th in total route wins. So Campbell was uber involved in Indianapolis last year, and most of his production came in the short game, anywhere up to 9 yards from the line of scrimmage. Now you can guess where the Giants had the majority of their passing attempts last year. Yeah, the short game. 50% of their total team passes went short. And that's also where we saw guys like Richie James and Wan'Dale Robinson make their livings. And guess where the majority of their snaps came from? Yeah, the slot. And how good were Richie James and Wan'Dale in that role? Well, Richie James had 5 finishes inside the top 20 from week 11 until the end of the season. And Wan'Dale Robinson, in the short amount of time that we saw him play, he put up double-digit fantasy points in 3 of his 5 games. So Parris Campbell, because, again, no more Richie James because he's now in Kansas City, and Wan'Dale was put on the PUP list, and it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that he is going to miss at least the first 4 games because he'll probably hit the reserve PUP list. So Parris Campbell was brought in to be that guy, to be the slot wide receiver over the middle of the field in the short game. And that role, based on what we saw from Richie James and Wan'Dale Robinson, is sneakily productive in fantasy. I love Campbell's value. Again, 15th round, it's a flyer territory at that point. I love his value, and I'm grabbing him in every draft that I can because this is insanely good value for the role he's walking into. And here's the other thing. If Parris Campbell doesn't pan out, so what? It's a 15th round draft pick. It's flyer territory. You can just drop him and pick up somebody else on waivers that's performing better than he is. There is no risk with Parris Campbell, but there is a ton of upside. Again, because of the role that he's going into with a mastermind like Brian Daboll and what I'm going to assume is another step forward with Daniel Jones. There's only good things about Parris Campbell in the 15th round. All right, next guy is Steelers running back Jaylen Warren, who goes off the board at the running back 52 in the 12th round. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a handful of picks before Nico Collins. And yes, Jaylen Warren is Najee's backup, but here's the thing no one wants to admit. The Steelers will likely give Warren more touches this year, and he already had over 100 last year. And taking a look at some of the advanced metrics of Jaylen Warren, he was 5th in yards created per touch. He was 11th in yards per touch. He was 12th in true yards per carry, 16th in breakaway run rate. As I said, advanced metrics, and there's a lot of those. But what they all say is that Warren made the most of his opportunities when he got them. And I tweeted out a while back an interesting table that compared Jaylen Warren's rookie year to Tony Pollard's rookie year, and it's fascinating. It's truly fascinating. They were relatively the same in true yards per carry, yards per touch, total yards, opportunity share, and fantasy points per opportunity. Now, I'm not saying that Jaylen Warren is going to be Tony Pollard, 2-3 years from now. But what I am saying is that if Warren can be that similar to Tony Pollard, and Pollard's touches went from 129 his rookie year to 169 his second year in the league, we should expect the same this year for Jaylen Warren. We should expect an increase in touches. And again, no one will want to admit that. But the Steelers will want to give Jaylen Warren more touches because he's efficient with his touches. So again, running back 52 in the 12th round, you're not expecting him to, find his way into your starting lineup every single week, but he's a depth piece that can be very valuable for someone who may have Najee Harris and it would prefer to have the handcuff in Jaylen Warren. So there is value even if he is just the backup, because you can expect an uptick in touches, and you know how good he can be with those touches. Did you know that Brock Purdy goes outside the first 12 rounds of fantasy drafts right now? In fact, he goes as the quarterback 26. The quarterback 26, one spot ahead of his teammate Trey Lance, which is crazy to think about. Now, we know why it is this low. And it's because everyone's concerned about how long he could be out for, where is he in his rehab from having Tommy John surgery, all that kind of stuff. But Adam Schefter tweeted out a couple days ago that John Lynch, the GM, said that Purdy's been cleared, that Brock Purdy has been cleared without restriction, and he's ready to go for training camp. And everything we've heard this offseason is if Purdy is healthy, he is our starter. So here we are. Brock Purdy seemingly looks like he's going to be the starter week 1. So expect that ADP, that 15th round ADP, to rise in the near future. But here's why you should still look at Brock Purdy as a hidden gem. From week 13, when he took over as the starter, to the end of the year, he was the quarterback 9. The quarterback 12 in fantasy points per game over that stretch. He was a top 12 option. I'll keep this one short and sweet, but Brock Purdy performed last year, and he performed better than I want to admit. And at this point, there's a good chance he makes it to your waivers, because I think there's a lot of other quarterbacks that people will want to have on their team if they do decide to roster 2 quarterbacks. But man, I think Purdy is going to be a very, very nice waiver option at some point this season, because he's produced quarterback 9, quarterback 12 in fantasy points per game from week 13 till the end of the season. If you can get that from a waiver option, again, that just separates your team even more from the rest of the pack. It makes your team that much stronger, and everyone else is then left looking for someone that can be a Brock Purdy for their team. And lastly, Mike Gesicki is the last guy on this list. He goes as the tight end 24 in the 14th round of your drafts. And there's a couple reasons why Gesicki is a hidden gem this year. First, there are over 200 vacated targets on this Patriots team. 96 from Jacoby Myers, who's now in Vegas. 53 from Nelson Aguilar, who's now in Baltimore. 38 from Jonnu Smith. And 23 from Damian Harris, who's in Buffalo. And Jonnu Smith, by the way, he's in Atlanta now too. And the only replacements the Patriots brought in, Juju Smith-Schuster and Mike Gesicki. Second reason, there's no more Matt Patricia, Joe Judge offensive system. It is now Bill O'Brien's offense. And you may think that he stinks because of his time in Houston primarily, but his system is miles better than the Patricia Judge system. And there have been years in the past where Bill O'Brien has led a Houston offense to be a top 12 scoring top 12 scoring offense in the league. So look, yes, Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins were on those teams. You've got Mac Jones now, and your wide receiver one is Juju Smith-Schuster. Not the same, but that just should show you just how much better Bill O'Brien is at calling plays and running an offense than Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, who have been defensive coordinators and special teams coordinators before joining New England staff a second time. Third reason. This is a tweet that I found from a friend of the show, Alex Caruso, who's a great follow. Go follow him on Twitter. He tweeted this out a couple days ago about Mike Gesicki, and it's kind of nuts. Starting all the way back in 2019, you look at Gesicki's fantasy finishes by the year. He finished as a tight end 12 in 2019. He finished as a tight end 7 in 2020. He finished as the tight end 9 in 2021. And then he dropped and finished as a tight end 23 in 2022. But in all the years without a Tyreek and a Waddle, he was top 12. And heck, he even had Jaylen Waddle in 2021. And he still finished top 10 that year. And now he's on the Patriots, who have no wide receiver or tight end from last year who saw 60 or more targets. Devontae Parker did not see over 60 targets. Kendrick Bourne did not see over 60 targets. Tyquan Thornton didn't see over 60 targets. Not even Hunter Henry saw over 60 targets. So you take those four guys and you add in Juju Smith-Schuster and Mike Gesicki, there's a ton of opportunity. It would be foolish to not admit that that same opportunity is there for all the other five options. But Mike Gesicki, again, is going in flyer territory. So what if he misses? So what if you whiff on a Mike Gesicki? If you do end up drafting Mike Gesicki. But if he falls to your waivers, he's someone that you should keep an eye on. Because, again, the opportunity is too good to not keep an eye on. If he starts producing, grab him quick. Because it's going to be him and one other player in this offense that Mac Jones has to throw the ball to. So keep your eye on Mike Gesicki. He's a flyer. He will make it to your waivers more than likely. But, again, just keep an eye on him. Opportunity is there. That wraps up another video on the Fantasy Football Fellas YouTube channel and a quick recap of the 5 hidden gems, the 5 late round gems that we discussed in this video. Nico Collins, Parris Campbell, Jaylen Warren, Brock Purdy, and Mike Gesicki. Thanks for tuning in. Give this video a like and consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. And go ahead and put in the comment section who your late round gem is, who your hidden gem is this year in drafts. And go ahead and check out all the other podcast episodes that we have on our channel and all the other shorter form content that we have as well. all there for you to help you win your leagues this year. We'll see you next week on our next episode. So until then, deuces.